Any volunteers for a word of prayer? We are requesting volunteers for prayers, and because we are an inclusive space, I can already see 2 prayers that we will have. So, take us. Thank you, Mr. Raphael.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful to you for bringing us together this morning, O Lord, for a worthy cause. As we begin, we commit the deliberations into your hands, and we pray, God, that by the end of it, may it have success and chart a way forward to impact lives that are looking up to you to be impacted. Lord, we thank you for everyone here, and we pray that you may start with us and end with us well. In Jesus' name we pray and believe. Amen.
Later. Thank you so much. Karibuni, the Action Foundation. We are very glad to have you here today. And to kick us off, I'd like us to do a very short introduction so that we know who's in the room. We get to know each other just a little bit, and then we can go into the main program. I can see the front table is still settling in, so this means we'll start from the back. So how we'll introduce ourselves, you'll tell us your name, the organization you represent, and imagine yourself as a technological device, and tell us which one you would be. Do you want to be a drone? Do you want to be a remote control? What do you want to be if you were to be told to be a technological device, and why? Yeah, just to make it a little bit fun. At TAF, we always say, we are children at heart because we work a lot with children. So today you will discover your inner tech child. I don't know if we have a second mic. We don't. All right, I will do exercise this morning. So I'll come to the back. Your name, the organization you represent, and if you were to be a technological device, what would it be and why? Yes, anyone. Hata kama ni obsolete ya kitambo. Just tell us, humor us.
I started. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Suparna Biswas, and I work for Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa. And then what am I supposed to say? That's a good one. There's so many. I don't know. I have this crazy idea when I drive around Nairobi that if I could have a car that we can fold, collapse, then life in Nairobi would be so fantastic. Because when there is no traffic, you can just zoom through anywhere. Thank you.
I like that. She'd love to be a foldable car. That is very... I'm already imagining it. Sounds very interesting.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Alpha. I work for the Action Foundation. And if I was to be an electronic device, I think I would be Bluetooth earphones. Yeah, any type of headphones, anything that produces sound. Yeah, because I think music is therapy, and I would like to be the same in real life. When you stay with someone, it's just positive vibes. Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Simon Morori from the Ministry of Education, and I'm the coordinator of the STEM and Science Fair in the ministry. And the technology I would like to be is to be a robot. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Simon Kimani from the Ministry of Education and Quarters. And I would like to be a satellite so that I can control the whole world.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Abdi, Maulid Abdi, from the Ministry of Education. I wish to be a computer to store knowledge and innovations. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Titus. I work with the Ministry of Education. And technology-wise, a laptop, because I would wish to be part of the transformation moving into the future. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Melen Marucha. Sorry, I'm standing in a funny way. Let me. Okay. Yeah, this is Melen Marucha. I work for Sense International Kenya and also represent Action for Children with Disabilities, which is a network of many organizations. And I'm proud to say that the Action Foundation is part of ACD network. So for the technological device, I think I want to be a microchip. Reasons, still thinking.
Good morning. I'm Stephen Mwanduka from the STEM Impact Center, Kenya. If I was to be a device, she said mine, microchip, but I would go to drones to control everything without having to be manned. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sheila Mwanje. I work with the Global E-Schools and Communities Initiative. It's an INGO under the United Nations ICT Task Force. I'm here at 9 a.m. because I got the invitation to this event at 6 p.m. yesterday, so had to reschedule my morning. And I can, from what I've heard, we are talking about a device you'd want to be. I use cameras a lot, and cameras tend to bring out a lot of nice things. So I think if I were a technological device, I'd want to be a camera. My colleague in charge of EdTech would be here any moment. So she'll introduce herself when she gets here. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Maxwell Ajoga. I work with Kilimanjaro Brain Trust Africa. If I would be a technological device, I think I would be a smartphone. You know, since we are always, all of us are almost close to our smartphones, you know. Yeah. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kennedy Okongo Odhiambo from Rezikisos. Rezikisos is a social enterprise working to uplift the lives of persons with disability through job provision. If I would convert to a technological device, I would be a power bank. So that, you know what does, eh? Thank you.
Morning, everyone. I'm Innocent Magothe from Statinev. If I was to be a device, I'd be a projector to be able to project as much to as many people.
Good morning. My name is Saralea Wahome. I work at Chanza Village and also Statinev. If a device, I'll choose an SSD because it is fast, effective, and efficient.
Good morning. My name is Wangeshua Home. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I'm a partner at the firm of Siswell and Associate, but also a director at Anza Village. Now, if I was to be a device, I would probably go with what my brother there has said as a smartphone. You'd connect to almost all the devices we've mentioned, but also most importantly, it's a source of communications and connections for people, whether we're using it for M-Pesa, calls, and all that. So communication is key for me, so yeah, that makes sense.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Juliet. I'm from the Action Foundation. And if I was to be a device, I'd want to be a smartphone just to be connected to any device available. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raphael Nyabala, National Director for Special Olympics Kenya. We work with persons with intellectual disability, from children to adults. If I were to be a device, I would be a drone with the intent to overcome barriers and create equality. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Samson Waweru from the Kenya Society for the Blind. Now, if I was to be a device, I remember when I signed for my KCSE, I didn't have a calculator to do my maths and I failed. I would be a scientific talking calculator to get my figures right.
Good morning. My name is Brian Kamau from Kenya Society for the Blind. And if I was to be a device, I think I'd be a 3D printer, just to recreate everything that you talked about.
Good morning, everyone, and apologies for coming in late. Something unexpected happened, but I'm happy to be here nevertheless. My name is Victoria Barrio, working with CBM International, and happy to be here to learn from all of you and also hear about the new program. If I was a device, I would like to be a speaker to just amplify the good sound and the good vibe. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Felix Malombe. Some people call me Felix. Some people call me Felix, but my name is Felix Malombe. I'm glad to be here this morning, and I can't wait to see what we'll do together. For the device, I sound like I'm an amplifier as well. I'm not copying you, my sister, but I like to inspire souls of men and women to be the best versions of what they are, so amplifying everything.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Richie Biko from Metis Collective. If I would be a device, I would actually choose a camera because images speak more words. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure of the instructions to introduce myself, but my name is Masi Kirui. I work with Ikitabu and looking forward to learn more here. Thank you. Wow. I think I would be a tablet. Yeah, because I can use it for many things.
Great. So I hope we'll have the chance to network a little bit more. Find the person who intrigued you with the kind of device they wanted to be. Start a conversation with them. But I think we can see the imagination that we all have. And imagine we are adults with all the stresses and things that we think about, the companies we run, the children we care for, the people we pay salaries. So imagine that type of imagination in a child, in a girl with a disability, and just how much they can change the world when we give them the opportunity to imagine. And I think that's why we are all here today. We want to start that conversation about how do we get our girls to imagine, then unimaginable, yeah? And then they start working backwards to make it possible. My name is June Omune. I'm the Director of Learning and Impact at the Action Foundation. But I usually prefer to introduce myself as a learner because I'm always learning new things. And we are very happy to host you. If I was to be a device, mimi nataka kuwa drone. For the simple fact that drones can go anywhere and spy on people a bit and go to those places that people can't access. So I'd really love to be a drone. Thank you for coming. I can see very beautiful faces. So what I want to do right now is to invite our Executive Director, Madam Maria Omare, to give us the welcoming remarks. And we have officially started, so feel free. I think foods are still being served, so you can top up your coffee, your tea, your drink. And yeah, let's enjoy this very short 2 hours together. Madam Maria Omare, karibu. At least we can clap, we can, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, June. It's really exciting that this day has finally come. I think we've been thinking about it for several months. As June shared, I am Maria. I'm called Mama Taf because I'm the mother of a couple of thousand of children that we support at the foundation. I want to say what device I would wish to be. I would wish to be a Wi-Fi router. Because Wi-Fi is a basic need nowadays, and I try to be useful to people, so I'd wish to be a Wi-Fi router. So I'll start by sharing a very short story about a girl. So this girl, her parents sacrificed a lot to get her to one of the best private schools in the country. This was in the early 2000s. Her dad worked in the informal sector. Her mother sold mutumba, but they were so determined for their daughter to attend one of the best private schools. So this girl was brilliant, but she was only brilliant at what she liked. She was brilliant at history. She was brilliant at literature, English. I don't understand the new curriculum. But she was really brilliant at what she enjoyed. She got straight A's at what she enjoyed. And then during Form 1, she realized that there is a big problem. Because she used to fail miserably at physics, chemistry, so that would lower her grade. So when it was Form 2 and it was time to drop, of course, the first thing that was X'd was physics. But she was so shocked to hear that it's not possible to drop all sciences, ni lazima angefanya chemistry. So she tried, but as much as she tried with her own effort, chemistry was Greek. She might as well be writing Japanese. So she carried on. Because she was strong in the arts, she got good average grades. But kulikuwa gumu kabisa wakati wa mocks. When it was time for her to sit for the mocks to prepare for the Form 4 examination, she got a D for donkey in chemistry. So that is when she realized that, here, if I don't pass, all the sacrifices her parents have made will go down the drain. So with that acknowledgement, she reached out to her chemistry teacher. She reached out to the choppies, the brilliant ones in the class, to assist her with chemistry. With that and with extra classes, after class she remained behind and she was taught chemistry. During KCSE, she actually got a A- from a D for donkey. So because of that, she was able to go to campus. She was able to find her passion, which is disability. And here she is today, she's Maria. So that's a brief story of my relationship with sciences. So the Ibuka Girls in STEM project, actually that is one of the big why we do it, because for a lot of girls, sciences are Greek, isn't it? They are told that sciences are for boys, history is for girls. Or work hard, you become a teacher. Or work hard, you become a lawyer. So for a lot of women, inclusion in technology we are still very far behind as a nation and as the globe in general. So, and for girls with disabilities, that is amplified thousands and thousands of times. So that led to us starting the Ibuka Girls in STEM project, because we saw in the communities that we support, we work in Kibera, and right now we work in all the counties in Kenya in partnership with the Directorate Special Needs Education. I'm so glad to see our friends here from the Directorate. We appreciate your partnership. It's because we want these girls to also have that person. I remember my teacher, Mrs. Muse. Mrs. Muse didn't laugh at me when I got a donkey in chemistry in walks. She instead chose to invest in me. She chose to see what I can become. So we want to be the Mrs. Muses for thousands of girls with disabilities in the country, because we believe that STEM can unlock future opportunities, especially in this new world where we are moving towards technology. So with those few remarks, I officially welcome you to the launch of the Ibuka Girls in STEM project. We're going to interact with what it is all about, who are we targeting, what have we achieved, what is the experience of a visually impaired learner with robotics, what is the experience of a child who is deaf when they're doing makey-makey. We are going to learn what is makey-makey in the first place. So with those few remarks, I appreciate each and every one of you for coming to our function. And I look forward to connecting, learning, sharing, even beyond this event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Maria, for those wonderful remarks. So at this point, I'll invite my co-MC to take over the program, Mr. Simon Dungu. Karibu.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I didn't get an opportunity to introduce myself when the introductions were being done. I'm Dr. Simon Dongo Gashegwa. I want to thank God for this opportunity to be here, that we can purpose to discuss how we are going to help our colleagues, our learners, to make it better in life. If I was an electronic gadget, I think I would want to be a DNA fragment analyzer. I have, DNA fragment analyzer. Not because I will be solving paternity cases, but because I would want to help people discover the potential that they have within themselves. Because I've realized we have so much potential, but we rarely utilize our potential. I've been given a very humble job of being a co-MC, and I have a few remarks, but I will reserve them to a later point. At this point, I would want to invite the Deputy Director from the Directorate of Special Needs Education, Mr. Abdi, to come and give a keynote address. Welcome. Let us appreciate him as he comes. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Good morning again. I wish to welcome you all to this memorable function, the launch of the program. The Action Foundation has been running this program for girls with special needs education. The program known as Ibuka Girls in STEM. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And as we know, education is compulsory now. Basic education is compulsory for all learners, including those learners with special needs and disabilities. And therefore we say, as the country is moving towards technology and innovation, all learners, including learners with special needs and disabilities, should not be left behind. And I think that is what the Action Foundation is doing. I was there in one of the trainings in Mombasa. I don't know, was it last year or this year? Early this year, where, the training on robotics, training on was going on, and actually we really enjoyed it. I think it was a very good training, and we commended. Now, the target group is about 3,000 girls in training learners with girls with special needs, and I think that is a good coverage. I saw also the coverage was based on every region. Every region was well represented. Therefore, we appreciate the great work that's being done by the Action Foundation through this program, Ibuka Girls in STEM. And we encourage more girls even to be put on the fold of training or changing their lives. I wish for everyone to do his or her contributions. We share information, we share issues, we interact widely, and see how far we can expand the program even to other girls and to other, even other regions which have not been reached yet. I thank you, and I wish and officially launch the program, the launch of the program. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best for the day. Asante sana.
Thank you. I will request that you adjust the bass. The way whoever is attending to the microphone there, please do something so that we can communicate effectively. There's a lot of echo in the background. At this point, I'd want to invite Madam June so that she can give us an overview of Ibuka Girls in STEM. And one thing I'm liking about this, and I'm requesting that she explains more how they came up with this word or this name, Ibuka, because it has something artistic in it, in reference to what we are discussing. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I think this is the first time we've been asked to explain Ibuka. That's a very interesting observation. So for us to get to how we come to Ibuka, maybe before we go into the STEM project, a brief summary of the Action Foundation for the benefit. Am I audible? I am. I can try and shout. Okay. So the Action Foundation was started 13 years ago by our founder and ED, Maria Omare. And we basically work in 3 programmatic areas. The first one is health, which focuses on early intervention services for children with disabilities below the age of 5. Then we work in inclusive education, which focuses on early years learning for children with disabilities. How do we strengthen the capacities of schools, particularly in low-cost settings, to be able to provide quality, inclusive early childhood education? Then with our third programmatic area is the women and girl empowerment. So there we work with adolescent girls and women with disabilities from informal settlements around empowerment, career and life skills development, gender-based violence prevention and response. So all those programmatic areas have Swahili names. So the health nurturing care component is called Tunza, which is to nurture, to care for. Yeah? And then our inclusive education program is called Somesha, to educate, to teach. So it's a very natural progression from when we are born, we are nurtured, we are educated, and then we realize at some point in adult life, as we approach being adults, women and girls with disabilities then start experiencing unique challenges that unfortunately our boys do not. So then we said, how do we start getting our girls to be these confident girls who can pursue their dreams, who are able to see a little bit more of themselves than they're told by their communities, by their families, yeah? And that is how we came up with the word Ibuka, which means to rise or to emerge. Nowadays, we like to think of them as phoenixes who are rising from the ashes, yeah? Because we believe they are powerful and all they need is that guidance. So that's why we have the name Ibuka, to merge, to rise. So I hope that answers Dr. Simon's question, and it makes clear why we are calling it Ibuka Girls in STEM. So all our women and girl empowerment programs are called Ibuka something. So we have different initiatives inside of that. So to the main agenda of the day. So as Maria Omari had already alluded to earlier, research shows that there's a mismatch between the aspirations of adolescent girls with disabilities and the disadvantages they face when you compare to their peers. Yeah? And we're not just talking about really girls, but generally persons with disabilities. It's only that for the girls it becomes a bit more complicated. But they're usually not able to access market-relevant skills, and they struggle in the job market. So in our program, for instance, we have a lot of girls who have very good potential, but they're not able, they've not been able to go to college, for example. They've not been able to get computer literacy lessons, so they struggle to get work. And so they're usually stuck in the informal economy. Yeah? So, and girls who desire to pursue STEM-related subjects usually, most of the time, you'll drop off or give up on the way. Like I know when I was young, I had very grand dreams of inheriting my father's pharmacy. And I used to believe that was the noblest job I could do until I went to high school. And then chemistry gave me serious character development. And then I said, wow, if I cannot learn chemistry, how will I operate a full chemist? And then I started adjusting my dreams. I'm very talkative, you can tell. So I started saying, okay, which career will require me to be doing a little bit of talking? So science has really discouraged me, yeah? And so I ended up pursuing law. But I was really, really interested when I was a small child. I had actually had a very big dream of inheriting that little pharmacy in the corner of Turner House in Canaan, because I believed my dad was doing a very noble job, yeah? And so with that realization in mind, we set off on a pilot project. And this was in 2020-2021, with support from the United States Embassy in Nairobi. We implemented a pilot STEM project in a few schools in 3 regions in Kenya. And this was as a result of, we had already been doing community STEM projects, yeah? Where we'd get girls with disabilities during the holidays, and they come to our center, and they're taught a little bit of coding here, they're taught a little bit of, mobile app development. So when we had the opportunity to partner with the US Embassy, we decided, let's take this mentorship to schools. And it was really just introduction to get them interested, yeah? So we wanted them to gain this information and skills to want to pursue sciences, so that we don't have girls all dropping physics at Form 2 like June, yeah? Or that we don't want to do biology, we don't want to do chemistry. So the idea was, how do we mentor them to first build their confidence that you can do it? How do you get practical skills to then support you to see that you can do it? So with this pilot, we reached 95 girls in special secondary schools in Kilifi, Kericho, and Nairobi. We went to a school called Charera in the middle of tea plantations. That was, I think, my favorite school, yeah? And we realized that there was need when providing STEM education, especially for girls with disabilities, and by extension, learners with disabilities. It's important to differentiate, because the experience of a visually impaired learner is far different from that of a hearing impaired learner, very different from that one of an intellectually impaired learner, very different from the physically impaired learner. So we kind of went in blind, and those are the lessons we learned as we went, yeah? Because we realized you could be teaching robotics, coding, and mobile app development, but those types of disabilities will interact with it very differently, yeah? And we also realized that there was a need to train teachers to support in providing, STEM education after school STEM clubs. So this led, with the leadership of Maria Omari, for us to think big and imagine, how can we make this little seed that we have planted, how can it grow? How can that mustard seed become? What does a mustard seed become? It's the one that becomes a giant oak tree, right? Yes. So we thought, how can we do that so that we are able to maintain the interest that we already given the girls in terms of, learning how to use Scratch, how to do robotics, how to develop that mobile application. They're really excited. And so this led us to apply for the Google Impact Challenge of last year. And we were fortunate to be among the awardees out of a very tight 4,000 applications worldwide. We were chosen, and I think one of the only disability-focused organizations in Africa, if I'm not wrong. And so what we hope to achieve with this project is we want to implement an after-school STEM project targeting 3,000 girls with disabilities in high school across special schools in Kenya. And this is over 3 years. So we want to enhance their interest, skills, and knowledge in STEM. And we also want to dispel the stereotypes, that prevent them from taking up the subjects in school, broadly. And so our unique approach lies in the fact that we now realize that for us to be able to successfully give our girls the skills they need for this technological future that is already the present, we need to provide the tools, the support, and the environments that are conducive for them to be able to learn. It's one thing to go for a weekend and go with this kit and say, yes, build a robot, fantastic. But what happens when you leave with your robot and you come back with your kit and you come back with this to Nairobi? The girls are left high and dry, What happens when we've come back with the master coach that we went with to Kilifi? We have come back with them to Nairobi. The girl in Kilifi has been left without someone to give them further support, so that even if they were interested, their means are very limited. We also realize that there's need for adapted and differentiated learning approaches. I think I've alluded to that earlier. We also need to create participatory and creative learning opportunities so that it's not just that we are lecturing these children, but we're also giving them the opportunity to imagine like we imagined when we were starting. What is that thing I can be? What can I build? How do I start building it? And creating an opportunity for them to be able to do that. We also learned that and believe that for you to teach STEM, for you to tell this girl that she can be a programmer, you have to start working on something inside of her, You have to build her confidence bit by bit. And so that is where life skills becomes very important, because it's not just that you're going to become a programmer, but how do you start positioning your mindset to become that programmer? What are those skills that you need to start developing? How do you become confident? How do you learn to play in a team? All those things, very important, in addition to the hard skill set. And then, of course, the gist of the matter, which is the practical skills, so that even if you were to not pursue higher education, higher learning, for instance, you can actually get skills that will help you to do something post-secondary school. So, there's a slide missing. How we started doing this was we said, first we need to understand our girls. We need to understand the environment in which we'll be working. So from last year, December, all through to March this year, we did an infrastructure audit and a needs assessment so that we're able to understand what are the challenges, what are the opportunities that exist within the schools. How is the thinking of the girls, in terms of STEM education? And so from that infrastructure audit, which you will be getting a copy of the data in a document that you'll take home. This is just a summary for purposes of presentation. From the infrastructure audit that we did in 35 schools across 17 counties in Kenya, and we did this in partnership with the Ministry of Education Directorate of Special Needs Education. All these secondary schools were special needs secondary schools. 44% of them lacked special technology or infrastructure to be able to even say, you can teach this child how to do programming. You can teach her basic computers. We did not have the infrastructure in place. The teachers we spoke to, 68% of them, of the 35 sampled, lacked ICT skills to support STEM learning. So again, we are back to the old problem. I will carry the expert from Nairobi who will go to Kilifi and teach these girls very fantastically how to use Scratch. But when we come back, we've not left knowledge there because the teacher is not yet empowered, and that creates a learning gap for the girls. We did focus group discussions with some of our girls, and we also administered some questionnaires, and there were very interesting perspectives from the girls. 60% of them had never heard of anything like coding or robotics or mobile app development. I remember Stacy would be here to corroborate my statement, but we went to a particular school for the hearing impaired, and that's when we invented the sign for robotics, because we had to teach them somehow. So we asked, how do we sign for robotics? And they did something like, doing your hands like you're scaling a wall. And that's how we taught them, yeah? So 85% of them desire to join higher education. For me, this was very surprising, because in my entire life, all you ever hear when you talk about people with persons with disabilities, twendeni vocational, let's go for tailoring, go and do masonry, So it was very interesting for me to realize that these girls actually aspire to be better. One of them said, mimi wanashinda wakiniambia, go and be a tailor, but I know I don't want to be a tailor. I know I can be more. Yeah? So they actually have it in them to want to go to those higher institutions of learning, to pursue higher education, and to go into the professional sector. Yeah? But they believe that the most significant barrier to learning, particularly when it came to STEM, the sciences, technology, engineering, mathematics, it was poor infrastructure and inadequate assistive devices and technology. Also interesting to note was that in the schools where there was some type of STEM interventions, and they could go for, say, competitions and had opportunities to make innovations, most of those were given to the boys. And they were very, very alive to the fact that these opportunities are being given more to the boys than they're being given to us. Yeah? So after the audit, the implementation, we went and rolled out school-based boot camps in all the 35 schools. So my colleagues went to about 17 counties, and they were everywhere. Kenya was very well represented. They went as far as Wajir, they went to Lodwar, they went to Kwale, we went to Kericho, we went to Kiambu. Where else did we go to? We covered quite a good percentage of the country. And so with guided engagement from the teachers, the learners were able to get quick skills on how to code using Scratch, how to assemble a robotics kit. So we were using the Lego Spike Prime kits, and mobile app development. Yeah? We are also currently developing disability-inclusive STEM training manuals, because we realize we have to have something on paper, yeah, that can be modeled, so that even if you leave that school, if you leave the teacher with this guide, she knows I'm teaching a school for visually impaired, this is how I'm going to go about robotics, or this is how I'm going to go about Scratch, because you have left a referral document for them to use. And we're very glad that we have the technical guidance and support from the Ministry of Education, DSNE, to be able to have this, and hopefully we can have it validated in the future. The other thing we did as part of our implementation was to provide digital infrastructure in schools. Yeah? So schools received television sets, robotics kits, internet modems, just so that we're able to have bare minimum infrastructure that will be able to, I'm trying to find the right word, kuendeleza, yeah? So that when the Action Foundation is not able to go to Wajir, there's a teacher there who has a modem, who has a laptop, who has a screen, who has a robotics kit, and all they need to do is to assemble their girls in the evening on one day in a week, and they go on with their STEM club, yeah? And from that, we learned a few things. Again, this is a summarized version, but we'll have a takeaway pack that will have a document with the full information. Mentorship enhances confidence and collaboration. It's not just that we're teaching the girls how to code, but while we're teaching them how to code, they're learning. They're mentoring. So Stacy at the back is the lead facilitator, and yes. So she was playing double duty. As you're teaching these young girls, you have to teach them certain skills. In some schools, you have to start from ground zero, build the confidence first. Let me not even be intimidated by this thing called a mouse. Yeah? Let me not be scared at the fact that it's this laptop. How do I get to see that I can work in a team? One of the schools I visited when I had the chance to go for the boot camps, there was this particular group of girls we were working with, and one of them was very aggressive. She wanted to be the only one doing every single instruction, and it's a school for the hearing impaired. So she was really bullying her colleagues, and she was very impatient. So when you try and she's looking at those other tables like, wanatushinda. She'll remove your hand from the machine. But by the end of the session, she learned the importance of teamwork. Yeah? Because they understand that for us to make this thing work, I cannot do it alone. We have to collaborate. Yeah? So you find in a VI school, for example, the partially blind girls can be able to help the fully blind. And they're supporting each other in the journey. And it was really, really exciting to see. Innovation enhances learning experiences. Once they've been taught the skills, give them a few minutes, they fidget with these devices, and suddenly they've come up with something. And they're very excited to show you as the facilitator. Yeah? We also learned that appropriate infrastructure will enhance learning. If they have these things on the ground, nothing is impossible. Yeah? These girls are doing projects on their own. They are making things from Meki that even June cannot yet do, simply because they have those things available. Yeah? One school, the teachers said, you've created a problem for us because even our phones are being used. When the laptop is not enough, when they come, the many of them, and they'll come at night, they will take our phones and continue working. Yeah? So appropriate infrastructure really, really enhances learning and skills acquisition. Then we also learned that the different categories of disabilities will experience all these components of STEM, of coding, robotics, and app development quite differently based on their learning style and their disability. So it was very interesting to note. So what this gave us was the insight that there is diversity and inclusivity in the approach for STEM learning, so that it's not a one-size-fits-all, but it's very differentiated in a very unique kind of way that you'll be able to see in the paper. So that, for example, the hearing impaired learners really, really like doing robotics. The visually impaired learners much prefer to do Scratch. And so we are telling ourselves, then, why should we force square pegs into round holes when we can work with what is working for everyone? Yeah? Because at the end of the day, someone is acquiring a skill. And if we continue to do that, then we'll be able to really have an adapted curriculum that is very responsive to the different needs of different learners with disabilities. So that is the end of my presentation. And I do recognize that we have a few guests who have just joined us. So maybe we'll give them a chance to just tell us who they are before we go into the next session. After the plenary in God. All right. Thank you. So I am well guided by my colleagues. And just to get a feel again of who's in the room, the institutions present here are Kenya Society for the Blind, STEM Impact Center, Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa, Sense International, MOE DSNE, that is Ministry of Education, Directorate of Special Needs Education. We have Anza Village, Startliner, Metis Collective, Special Olympics Kenya, Global eSchools and Communities Initiative, STEAM Labs Africa, CBIDO, all the way from Tanzania, We have Learning Differently, we have the Benjamin Foundation, and we have Ajiri, and we have Akira Chicks. So we can all appreciate ourselves for making it here. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll hand it back over to my able co-MC to take us to the next session.
Thank you. I think we can give a better appreciation. Yeah. And we also do it the SNE way. Yeah. We are talking of inclusivity. As per our program, we are supposed to have a plenary session. But before we go to the plenary session, I'm requesting Rida Kamau to take us through inclusion in technical careers for young women with disabilities in East Africa. So we've padded the plenary, but we'll get back there. So, Rida, welcome. We can appreciate her as she comes.
Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry to disrupt the program, but I will need to run earlier because I have another meeting. And my good friend Maria decided to ambush me and say, you need to speak tomorrow. And I was like, okay, sure. But my name is Linda Kamau, co-founder and co-executive director at Akira Chicks. And Akira Chicks, we pretty much are building a pipeline of African female tech talent. So I think we all know the tech industry. That's why we are here, thanks to Ibuka Girls in STEM. The tech industry is currently the most thriving sector in the world, and not just here alone. And so for us, we've seen a niche in terms of ensuring that we can get more girls in the tech industry. So we work with young women from the ages of 18 to 24 who have finished high school, but then they don't have access to tertiary education, so college, university. They didn't make the cut based on maybe the exam results, or even some made it, but then they don't have the finances to be able to be at the university. Yes, they'll probably get job, and some don't actually end up getting job. And so we work with young women currently within the East Africa community. So we have students from Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and this year we are going to next year we're going to add students from Ethiopia. And so the young women we work with, we've been doing this work for the last 12 years, but time and again we've had asked ourselves, what happens to young women who do not have access, but then they even already have another barrier, which is they're young women with disabilities. Like, the fact that they probably have disability doesn't mean that they can be software engineers or can be user experience designers. That we feel like there's a huge gap when it comes to the industry because we are not as inclusive as we should be. And so that's a question that has been lingering in most of for us. And last year, as we were recruiting for our class this year, we tried to be a little bit intentional. And we did recruit some young women with disabilities, physical disability, as we tried to start understanding what can we do. Yes, we are more on the training side, neither we are not on the employing side, because for us, the question we've been asking ourselves, yes, we can train, we can find ways to train, right? We will find all the resources, because if we need to get someone who can, like a deaf person, maybe we can get a sign language interpreter who will be able to explain what the trainer is teaching. But then our problem then goes, after that, we move to the next hurdle, which is who will employ them? Because the industry is currently not set up in a way that it's actually very accommodating or very inclusive, unfortunately. So for us, I think, as I was talking to Maria, is how do we start pushing this tech industry to start being more inclusive and thinking about how do we ensure that we can accommodate talent that is not necessarily just from an able person, but also from a disabled person. And so we, as Akira Chicks, is something that is on our radar. It's something that we are looking at and trying as much as we can, working with the Action Foundation and other organizations to try and understand how we can be more inclusive. I think the one thing that the tech industry keeps saying, it needs to be diverse, it needs to be inclusive, it needs to be equal, it needs to be all those things. And it seems sometimes all we do is say, like just say for the sake of ticking a box and writing their diversity, inclusion, equity, and that's it. But then nobody ever asks, how are we making the steps to actually start getting there? So I think for me, one of the things, the reason as to why I'm here and why maybe Maria invited me is because we need to start calling out the employers. I mean, one of the biggest employers in this country is Safaricom. I think it's the why we need to start, because if a big employer starts, it means everyone else will start trying to figure out how do we become more inclusive and how do we support in terms of investment, even for us. We're a not-for-profit, so the work that we do involves a lot of resource mobilization. And sometimes when we start working with young people who need different things, like now this year we had to really change up a little bit of our campus. Our students live on campus, so it means we have to ensure that whatever resources or facilities we have to be, like people who struggle to probably they have a leg that they can't take a big ramp. It means we need to ensure that we've made the facilities better. And most of the times we need resources. And so for me, it's to just call on most of especially the big employers, Safaricom and not the rest, even the government itself, to be able to figure out how they can support some of the work that we are doing and the work that Maria is doing, so that we can start seeing a lot of young women, and especially from the disabled community, to being able to get access to our trainings, train them, they can get jobs in the industry, start making money, and they can be independent and not have to worry about putting food on their table. So yeah, so that was what I was going to say. I was not going to take a lot of time. But then I'll be around. I'm just going to hop out and take a few meetings, but then I'll be around in case anyone would like to talk more, and happy to always answer any questions. Thank you so much.
I think we can give a better appreciation. That's good. As per our program, we are supposed to have a project, a video, a short one. I understand it's around 10 minutes at most. I want to welcome Stasi to take over.
Good morning. Mnaniona? Najua mimi ni mdogo, maybe sionekani, but I want to play a video. It's like a video collection of what we have been able to do so far in the Ibuka Girls in STEM project. So I'd like us to watch the video keenly, get some few insights, maybe questions, and then after the video, we can have a short discussion around it. The remote.
So while we're waiting for that, maybe you could just start having your reflections about what has been said so far. We're very interested to hear what you have to tell us and how we can start the conversations around opening up the space, especially post skills acquisition. So just start making mental notes of your thoughts. We can discuss those in the plenary. Yes, technology always has a way of throwing curveballs, but that is the beauty of life. Yeah? It's never an event until there's a tech hiccup, glitch.
My experience has been very eye-opening in terms of this is a different group that you're training, girls with disabilities, and now focusing on STEM and how it relates to them. them exactly, not because of the students, but for me as a teacher, like how there are some materials that I need for me to make sure that the class is successful and the students are understanding. You have to change the way you talk. You have to address maybe different materials that you're using through touch, finding ways to describe things using words. So yeah, that has been my most challenging.
We chose the girls from this age because this is the age where they begin to start sort of like understanding the different career options. When you learn it from this age, the kids are able to do comparison. If I can do this with my robot, is it relevant to my life? Is it relevant for me to understand when I'm doing biology or chemistry? So we are sparking that interest in these subjects with the hope that it will then get girls to want to do this career at a higher level of learning. So that's why I'm interested in them at this age. Without that ability to have amazing internet, it's very interesting for me to see just the amount of, the sheer will that is out there. I didn't know I could do this. When I got there, I can see. I'm seeing myself developing that up. You know, when you see a girl who's here and is here, and they're very excited when they're sent with this robot to do work. Or when they draw a circle or scratch because, you know, I have put in certain codes to do these circles.
Our girls, they love the languages part. When it comes to science, most things are real, like physics, biology, and teaching them it's not like teaching them the science subject, especially with organs with disabilities, the attitude and the performance was really a challenge. Because initially they were feeling I can run and I cannot run. When this group came up to start speaking that it is possible, it was a program that shows that they are loved by the fact that they are felt recognized and they are feeling they belong. In my own perception, disability is not inability. It's just being able but differently. Ibuka in the STEM will help these girls have a better future, and it will also empower other girls. It will give them the esteem and the courage to know that disability is not inability, and whatever they believe, we shall perceive.
Give the girl an opportunity to learn, understand. They excel and they do very well. They don't disappoint. So the notion that we had some time back that only normal girls in court are the ones who should be taken to school is no longer there.
I have had the opportunity of visiting some of these schools and speaking to some of the students. I hear many of them talking about wanting to pursue STEM-related courses. I think it's a very important highlight because in the past we did not have girls with disabilities being so motivated to pursue STEM. I visited these schools and found equipment that is very accessible and appropriate, but most important for me is that awareness, that sensitization, that indeed these girls are also able, if given the chance and given the right environment and the equipment to enable them pursue STEM.
Collaborating with the Ministry of Education, Directorate of Special Needs Education, and the NIC3 has enabled us to reach girls with disabilities who are farthest left behind. We've been able to reach RAs in the areas in Kenya. We've been able to reach girls who've also previously dropped out of school and support them to return to school with these innovators, problem solvers, working towards solving issues that they themselves experience without having others innovate for them.
I believe that girls with disabilities can actually study STEM subjects and excel.
Then from there, tutakuja hapa. Tunamalizia. Yeah, thank you. I think as we progress, we are getting to learn more. And now we are there. We want to have a plenary session where people can give their remarks, they can give their suggestions. And I want to give 2 or 3 comments. At the beginning, someone talked about stereotyping. And stereotyping does not just apply to those who have special needs. When I joined teaching in the year 2003, the first station I was posted to, a public secondary school, I found a teacher. I'm trying to teach biology and agriculture. And the guy was teaching physics. And the first sentence he said is, why do you have to teach science that is reserved for ladies? You know, in his mind, biology was reserved for ladies. So stereotyping has been there. And then the other thing I would want to mention is this is a very timely intervention. We have to change our way of mentorship as far as careers are concerned. Before you ask your son and your daughter whom they want to be, and your son is only 7 years old, I believe you are more informed than he is. So you should be part of the decision-making process. This is why we are getting it long. We ask our sons and daughters whom they want to be, right at a very young age of 7 years. They tell you they want to be engineers, but they cannot even spell the word engineer properly. They tell you they want to be pilots, but they need to know, we need to understand what is required for each level. As I welcome remarks from members, there are 2 comments. One, not everyone is right for every job, and not every job is right for everyone. Not everyone is right for every job. And not every job is right for everyone. That's why as we are seated here, there's those of us who still feel this is not where we belong, but happiness is liking what you do, and freedom is doing what you like. Point number 2, until you understand yourself, you will not be able to make a right career decision. I always say, making a career decision without understanding yourself first is like participating in a race that has no finish line. That's why you see people trying 3, 4, 5 different types of things, different careers, and they're not sure where they belong. There is parental obligation and self-efficacy. Believing in yourself is the strongest pillar in success in careers. If you believe you can, you will. If you believe you cannot, you won't. Who is going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself? And obviously, in the career planning process, there are several steps. We start with self-assessment. And that's why we are here, so that we can help the girls get to understand what they are capable of doing, and then they're able to pursue along those lines. So at this point, I would want to welcome remarks, opinions, suggestions, questions, so that we can move forward.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simon, and all the speakers today. You have done quite well. I happen to know Dr. Simon for a very long time when he was a small boy, learning to crawl, to run, and to teach. Well, I have very few issues. One, I would like to thank Action Foundation for bringing STEM for girls in our schools. I happen to have been with Action Foundation in some schools, And I have seen the transformation that our girls are undergoing through STEM. Indeed, when I was in school, our teachers, those days in primary school, never approached mathematics in the right way. I am not very good in mathematics. I blame my teachers for that in primary school. And STEM has come in to demystify STEM. And indeed, in practical ways, practicability, and through the gadgets that we offer in schools. And therefore, through mentorship, as has been said by somebody, we enhance, we build the capacity of our girls with disabilities in our schools. And something that I have right is that as we enhance, as we build confidence, we train, then we think of employing these girls in various capacities so that we make them full in life, right from mentoring, building confidence, demystifying, training, and finally, employment. Because every learner has a potential. We nurture their potential. And that is why CBC is about nurturing every learner's potential. Because our potentialities are different, and indeed they are limitless. We can only limit ourselves. And therefore, we are enhancing our girls with disabilities not to limit themselves to certain areas. Their potentialities are limitless. And in Kenya, indeed, when we do this, we are going far. Something that I noted in a certain school, I think it is Kirifi, Kibarani, that we have boys in that school, yet we are enhancing the capacity of girls. Indeed, this is a very good step because a journey of 1,000 years starts with a step. Probably you may think in the future of bringing boys in. Because when you are training girls and they are boys, when you are giving them t-shirts and they are boys, they are wondering, what is wrong with us? Are boys becoming endangered species in Kenya? I'm not criticizing because I've said every journey starts with a step. So in future you may think of how to bring on board girls. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning. My name is Samson Waweru from the Kenya Society for the Blind. I'm really honored to be part of this conversation because it's a conversation I wish some people would have had somewhere when we were in school. I've been through the special schools system in this country, and I started my education as a blind child here at Kilimani, where we were learning alongside other able-bodied learners, and it was quite an experience. And so I will point out a few issues that I think if we brainstorm and work towards, we may realize some success in terms of making STEM subjects accessible to learners with special needs. And as it has been mentioned earlier, what makes our system of education, maybe before CBC, and I think after some time we will evaluate the progress and the success of CBC, the system of education was limiting learners with special needs, the so-called learners with special needs, because we were emphasized on the theoretical side of education. Because even the career opportunities that were there for example, learners with visually impaired, education, that is teaching and law. So I remember when I went to the University of Nairobi, I was really fighting to join another course called economics, and I was told that one you cannot do because we don't know how to teach blind people. And so I had to settle in for governance and international relations, because we emphasize on theory. But where do we get it wrong? We get it wrong when we don't adapt our methodologies in teaching, availing the appropriate learning materials so that these learners can be nurtured and motivated to undertake STEM subjects. So at the Kenya Society for the Blind, we train persons who are blind to access technology. We have a Center for Adaptive Technology, whereby we use software applications that enable us to access technology, and the technology enables us to even adapt things that we could have otherwise not adapt. So the point I'm passing across is we've had persons who have lost sight when they are grown up, after their high school maybe. For instance, this is a case of someone who lost sight after her high school. She passed very well in STEM subjects, and when she got blind, she was told, now you cannot do any other course apart from considering the theoretics. And so we had to make her believe she could do STEM subjects, but no university in the country was also willing to take her, until we found a school in US where now she pursued software engineering and mathematics, and she's totally blind. So if we can nurture our girls and avail the right devices, because the devices that are needed to adapt, you know, for example, when we were sitting for exams, you have a biology paper, and on the paper there is a drawing of a tomato. So the drawing is done with dots, the braille. So when I touch me here, things that are round and some things passing across, which I can't really tell. So our recommendation was, instead of drawing things on a paper, because you know, someone who is born blind has never seen a tomato on a piece of paper, but when you give it to them, when it's practical and live, they will smell it and touch it and know this is a tomato and know how to go about it. So these are things, when we adapt to learners who have special needs, we will enable them have that capability, have that enthusiasm to undertake STEM subjects. But also we must address the issue of the cost of assistive devices, because the assistive technology that is needed to teach our learners STEM subjects is expensive and out of reach of many poor parents. Let's say even in Kenya, which is a third world country, they're out of reach because these items are gotten from the first world nations, and they come at a very huge cost. So if we can find a way to leverage on this, we can enable more and more persons with visual impairment, or more and more persons with disabilities, including those with hearing impairment, be able to undertake STEM subjects. And I hope we can do this. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Mine is just to express a word of congratulations to Action Foundation for coming up with this wonderful project. And from the little comments I've had, it's like the majority of persons with disabilities of my generation struggled with STEM subjects. I had the opportunity to go to a special school, then to the ordinary school. I was fairly good in mathematics in lower primary, but in class 4, things started changing, but it was because of the teacher. The teacher himself was not very good with the maths, so an attitude started developing from that point. And you know, with mathematics, it is progressive. class 4, class 5, there's a relationship with what you are doing in class 5, with what you did in class 4, class 6, and so on and so forth. So once you miss a certain stage, you are likely to struggle going forward. And some of the best teachers in maths during our time in primary were left to teach class 6, 7, and 8. They were overlooking the fact that you need a foundation to progress with. This project, understanding it as it has been presented here, I believe will inculcate the positive attitude on these girls to be lovers of sciences, which will be very, very important to take the country forward. Another thing I would say to the education stakeholders who are around, special schools, I don't know how they are nowadays, but during our days, I was in Joyland in Kisumu in primary. That school was very good in terms of infrastructure. The teachers were very many. But there was also an attitude amongst the teachers. We could go, all week, you could only learn maybe two subjects, only 2 teachers turning up. You know, that one has an impact. You know, as a young child, you rely on the teachers for direction. I'm comparing this with when now I transitioned to a normal school now, Kanyawanga Boys. Highly competitive, teachers on their toes. So this gave me an opportunity to compare. And I realized from my personal experience that in special schools then, I'm not saying now, I don't know, then the teachers there were not as committed as teachers in other schools. So some of projects of this nature are important in that they are coming at a time when the issue of inclusivity is now out there in the limelight, and we are likely to benefit, and it's likely to spark that good attitude towards subjects that have until then been considered for males or for people who have no disability. Thank you.
Good morning. Maybe for the sake of those who are not here when I introduced myself, I'm Sheila Mwanje from Global East Coast and Communities Initiative. And yesterday when we got the invitation to attend the launch of the Ibuka Girls in STEM project, the first thing I told Ms. Sheila Luta was it's timely and it's a very interesting project. And from what June was presenting earlier, there was a bit of life skills. And going through that video, I would just want to know what initiative you're taking to ensure all the life skills are put into place as these girls get to interact with all the devices and as they go through the projects in coding, mobile app development, and even the robotics. And then I'll just echo the remarks by our colleague from the Kenya School, the Kenya Society of the Blind. It's really important to bring in assistive technologies. In JC, previously we've worked with the United Nations Partnership on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and the project was on accessible digital textbooks and assistive devices. So maybe it's really key to look into ensuring as you take the laptops, the internet accessibility devices, the schools also have assistive devices like text-to-speech devices, they have the vector readers, the laptops that they are going to be using for coding have softwares that will enable a learner who has visual impairment to listen to something. And the text-to-speech one would also be very good for those with visual impairment. We would also have audio or visual graphical interface videos that would be great for a learner who cannot hear, and they would be able to follow those instructions. Because through that, a baseline study being conducted was showing some of these schools already have the materials, but they do not know how to use it. So as you look into the training aspects of training teachers, the statistics June was presenting showed 68% of the teachers do not have ICT skills. So as that training is being put into place, maybe there's need to emphasize on knowing if these devices are in the schools and ensure the teachers know how to use them so that they can assist the learners during the STEM clubs as they go about their training through the Ibuka Girls in STEM. Thank you.
Good morning. As I just said earlier, I'm Stephen Mwanduka from STEM Impact Center, and I want to maybe pass a word of congrats to TAF, because I think at some point I've realized that this is how far you can go, especially with the right devices, the right people, and everything. Mine is a call towards TAF. We are having the Kenya Innovation Week in November, that's the next month. And mine is that STEM Impact Center will be leading a student innovation track on the Kenya Innovation Week. So mine is a call that could we have some students, because this is a point where we need these learners to come on board and they be seen by the rest of the world. Could we have some students with some innovations that we can bring them on board during the Kenya Innovation Week? They could showcase what they've been able to do for us to be able to learn together, and we see how we can support them together. Thank you so much, and congrats.
One more, okay.
Thank you. My name is Raphael Nyabala from Special Olympics Kenya. And first of all, congratulations to Action Foundation for this great innovation that you have in STEM. One interesting and approach that I've picked here is the mentorship. And when we work with people with disabilities in different domains, this mentorship comes in very handy. And as we are aware that girls are all over the country, go to a place like Marsabit, go to a place like Turkana, and even beyond. There are some remote places that you might not all the time find a special school. And this calls for thinking on how best can this be extended to strengthen the capacity of the government in terms of training all teachers through the teachers' colleges, so that every teacher that passes through a teacher college has some skills in STEM, also has some skills in helping learners with special needs, so that there will be opportunity that is not lost even to a girl in the remote area. They will be helped. And so this can only happen if environment is created that is conducive for everyone. If it is conducive for everyone, it will be best for all girls that have disability. So this is my comment. If we can implore the ministry to work with colleges and to train teachers, regardless of whether they are in special schools or not. Thank you.
Good morning again. Once again, I'm Wangeshua Home, the Executive Director for Anza Village and also a lawyer. Now, I'm glad that I spoke after the gentleman here who talked about innovation, because ideally that's what I wanted to mention about. We talk a lot about STEM and STEM leading to employment. And at a time when the rate of employment in this country has gone so high, and especially for literally anyone with a degree, you can imagine how much of a disadvantage that is even for the disabled, differently disabled people, but also for the girl. I mean, it's a very competitive world out here. But again, also going back with innovation is I keep checking how many patents, how many utility models as a country we are filing, and WIPO releases at least every year. And as a country and as Africa, we rank at the very bottom. It's not to say that we're not innovative. It is not to say that some of the robotics and some of the coding ideas are not great. It's that we're not taking it seriously enough to address our issues. So when I see this, my hope and prayer and maybe an action to staff is, let's see, how can we inspire innovation in the process of teaching on STEM, so that it's not just for employment, it's also about the problem solving. 1, 2. When we think about innovation, I had, I think 2 weeks ago with a session at IBIS in Strathmore, a young girl who came and spoke to me and told me that she got into a program like this when she was in the university, got funding from the UN, I think it was I cannot remember which of the agencies, but got funding of around 500,000. But the school took it. It didn't help with the program. So even when we are thinking through innovation, you have to think through, if a student comes up with an idea, how do they take ownership of that, whether they are getting assisted with it, so that the money is not going to the institution and the students are actually not getting help. I mean, for me, that has become a policy issue that I'm actually pushing for, so that we are not funding for such programs to benefit students, and then in the long term, they are not gaining. And 3, my third comment would be to Maria. I mean, when you spoke about your story, I felt like you're talking about my story. I struggled. I dropped physics as well in Form 2. Chemistry was my lowest grade. I went on to become a lawyer. It was more or less the simpler, probably also because I'm talkative like June. But it's not to say that STEM is not important. Stepping out to the real world, and I'll agree with Dr. Simon that we don't have the true information. We don't have the proper statistics of what it takes to choose certain careers. And it's important because I stepped out and I thought, maybe if I knew chemistry, I would have come up with cosmetic products and become rich. Well, I'm not a chemist anyway. But we need to be able to give the students proper information about what the benefit of this STEM is beyond just employment. What can you do there? I mean, if you have an experience in agriculture, it's currently the best doing. I, on the side, am a farmer, and a large-scale farmer for that. So it's probably one of the best doing, but yet back in the days, we assumed that it's a very bad thing. So a good effort, staff. I would like to see how I can work that journey with you as Anza in whichever way that I can. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very rich comments, and it has just taken us naturally into the next phase, because we're actually going to ask you, how do we start working together? Yeah. We alluded to the fact that we need to start preparing our employment spaces to receive our girls. Sometimes I sleep at night and then I have a nightmare. I'm asking myself, okay, after we have trained 3,000 girls, hata 200 pekee wakikuwa maotero, where do I take them? Because they will always come to TAF and they'll ask Stacy, they'll ask Maria, they'll ask June, you've taught me all these things, what next? Show me where to go. And then I'm stuck, and then we are stuck. So really the next session is for us to unstuck ourselves. How do we start forging those solid partnerships that will help us to move? Nowadays my buzzword is to move the gospel forward. Because I really believe that we cannot do it alone. Up to where we have come, we have not done it alone. We've had a very able team of supporters behind us. And just to mention that we actually have an online audience that is being very masterfully coordinated by our liaison officer at the ministry, Madam Sheila Luta. She's online with our teachers and a few other guests. And we really want to applaud our partners who have brought us this far. And we really invite you to join us so that you're then able to say that on this 12th day of October 2022, we started this partnership that will yield results in the next 3, 4, 5 years, because we believe that this is a continuous journey, even beyond the life cycle of the project, yeah? We cannot be people who do projects because we got funding. We refuse it. We believe in creating sustainable change, yeah? And that can only happen if we partner. So I'd like us to go through our call to action. And we have, sorry, I'm forgetting the name, allow me to refer. We have a sign-up form where you can register if you're interested in partnering with us in any way, matter, or form, so that we are able to give our girls the spaces they need. Because ultimately, the goal of the project really, it's not just about the skills acquisition, but it's really about how do we start unlocking those economic opportunities 3, 4 years from now, yeah? So, Stacey, you'll help me go back to my slides so that we can go through the call to action. We are just about to end. I think we are doing well on time. Just to address some of the issues that were raised, the skills that we're teaching our girls through this after-school program are really aligned to the 21st century skills for learning. Yeah? How do we collaborate? I always joke with them and tell them, when I was going to school, it was illegal for you to share your rubber. If you are found sharing your rubber or your sharpener, you'd be in trouble with teachers. Walimu kweli uongo. Especially when it was an exam, yeah? But you do this for very many years in school. And then when you leave school, you come to the office environment, you're being asked, are you a good collaborator? And you're left dumbfounded, yeah? You're being told there's this big project. You guys now have to work in a team. And our kids don't know how to work in teams. Why? It was never something that was taught. I had to learn how to work in a team. But otherwise, the way I went to school, it was me, myself, and I, yeah? I sit with my own mathematical set. Whether I know the answer or not, that is my problem. I will pretend like I'm drawing something, but I don't know what I'm doing. But you come to work and you're told collaborate. You come to work, you're being told be creative, innovate. So those are the things we want to start telling our children. How do they become problem solvers, yeah? You just don't go to learn because school fees is being paid and the government has this beautiful capitation for learners with disabilities, so you have access to education. But what is the purpose of us learning, yeah? So we really want to, through this project, inculcate those skills in our girls, that you're a problem solver, you're an innovator, you're a creative thinker, you can collaborate, yeah? And it doesn't matter that you have a disability. Actually, it's not important because within you, there is valuable contribution. Cindy? So our call to action, we need to adapt the digital content like we said. And we are not standing here claiming to be perfect or to be the experts, but we're instead calling upon you to tell us, this is how we can refine what you already have. This is how we can do it better, yeah? With the different experiences that we have. Then our second call to action is, how do we provide those ICT digital devices? Because the fact of the matter, like one of us has alluded to, they're expensive, they're not so accessible. So what can we start doing, even as a business community, as a professional class, to make these devices available for our girls so that they're able to continue getting the experiential learning? Yes, we have provided a few, but they're barely enough. It's actually a drop in the ocean. So that's the next big headache, I think, for my ED. How do we sustainably provide those devices? Yeah. Then assistive technologies that will help our girls. A talking calculator, for example. I can allude to what our colleague has said. We went to a school and they're telling you, if this child is getting access to a talking calculator when they're in Form 4, how do you expect them to really pass mathematics? That thing looks like an alien when you're 2 months to KCSE. How do we start getting them available from the word go so that they also feed into the STEM education that you're providing? And then for me, I think the most critical one and why we are all here today is how do we start opening up our spaces? How do we create opportunities for our girls to see that career in real life, in action? Because we can talk about it in theory, but if she doesn't go, for example, to Akira Chicks and sees that beautiful campus, or comes to Kilimanjaro Blind Trust and sees that center that you're using to adapt technology, then we are not making, I believe in making the intangible tangible. So how do we get our girls to do job shadowing? How do we get them to come to your offices for, internships when they're on holidays, so that they can see? I remember when I was a young girl, nilikuwa tu nimetoka Form 4, I used to go to Westlands and I envied everyone who used to work in Westlands. And I was always telling myself, one day I will work in these skyscrapers. I will wear that beautiful suit and I will walk and I'll be bouncing like those girls in Westlands walk with their high heels. I was just 18 thereabouts. I didn't even know what I want to do with my life per se. Yeah? But just that visualization was very powerful. Yeah? I remember looking at women like Christine Lagarde or Angela Merkel, and I'm like, I need to be like them sometime. But how many of our girls with disabilities have that exposure? And I think more importantly, if we have inclusive spaces, can we get them to see them? If we know that employer who has a lot of persons with disabilities working with them, can we take those girls to them? Can we take them to Safaricom? Can we take them to Technobrain? Can we bring them to your foundation? Then they start connecting the dots. That if I can program, I can go work at Metis as a software engineer. Then we are beginning to create that pipeline. Then how do we support skills acquisition and create post-secondary transition pipelines? Yeah? Right now, we are teaching them how to code. I keep telling Stacy, you will get girls who will be experts in coding within 2 years. What will you do with them? How do we start introducing them to Python, for example? How do we go to now, what do they call them? Java. You see, even me, I am learning. I'm also getting into the pipeline. But that is the idea that we have, because we know for sure, hatutakwama kwa scratch, sindio? Hatutakwama hapo kwa Lego Spike Prime. So we need to create those pipelines where they are able to even advance their skills and enter into your offices so that they are able to apply themselves. So in whichever way you feel touched, empowered, or moved to support, you can enroll. Sorry? Yeah. So we will be sharing the enrollment form, and you can just tell us, this is how I'd like to partner with TAF. Like STEM Impact Center has invited us for an event. We'll see that we'll get our girls there. If there's more opportunities for them to showcase, because they are actually doing fun stuff in schools, but we need those places where they're able to showcase. I keep telling my colleagues, we have to have girls who get incubation money for something. I don't know what yet, but we will get them. Yeah? Because that is what we want. So that's our call to action. And so as we come to the almost end, because we now want to get into the official launch, just think about it a bit and tell us, even before you fill that form, you can whisper to Maria, to Stacy, to June, and tell them, this is where I want to chip in. This is where I want to plug in. Yeah? Support is not usually necessarily money. There's a lot of things that we can do with the resources that we have that help us to move a needle. And for us, that is why I think we are all here. I strongly believe in partnering. That's the only way we really move forward. So now, I think my co-MC will help me at this point. We want to go into the actual launch where we ululate and dance and sing the Kenyan way. But just before that happens, we've talked about technology quite a bit, yeah? And so some of what staff has been doing is thinking about deepening access and enhance sustainability for this project. We've developed a platform that we are calling the Ibuka Girls in STEM platform, where girls can continue to learn. And so what I will want to do is invite Stacy to take us through that platform. It's still a work in progress, but it's something we hope that we'll be able to give the girls, for lack of a better way of putting it, the Coursera or the Udemy of inclusive STEM learning. So we're calling it the Inspire Girls in STEM platform. They can come here, log in, teachers can log in, you can get access to modules, courses, just around coding, robotics, and app development at your own pace, with your own time, and you can keep refining your skills. And it's also an online community where our girls and their teachers can share their projects, their successes, exchange knowledge, learn, that interesting kind of thing. So think of it as, you know, a sustainability plan for our girls, because we believe they can do it, and we want them to access it on their mom's phone, on their dad's laptop. So Stacy, take it away.
Thank you, June. I'm currently projecting a tab. It's an online platform, and this is what we are calling Inspire Girls in STEM. It is an online platform that is seeking to target all these girls that we are talking about, the ones in the schools, and also the ones who are not in schools, even others who are maybe not even in Kenya, so very many people. But then this platform is going to provide them with like open educational resources that they can use to learn all the things that we are taking them through in STEM. Maybe to just quickly take you through, this is still a work in progress. It's not yet finally complete. So this is the landing page of our platform. And on this platform, you can see we have different tabs that are there, but I'd like to first note the accessibility that is there. So anytime you open a platform and you find, mainly it's always on this is the left side. The left side. If you find like a blue button, this is what is called accessibility in a platform. In terms of someone maybe who has low vision, you're able to see, because maybe the colors, the contrasting, so you're able to see that. So here on the side, so if you click on that, you see we have different accessibility tools, and mainly these are for persons with visual impairment. So we have increasing of text, you can decrease it. It depends with how it affects you. So you're able to change different effects on the platform. And this is actually possible in all the platforms that people have. This shows inclusion because you're targeting a certain kind of group of people that will be able to access your platform, in addition to maybe the ones that you wanted to target. So you can see that on our platform, so we have our landing page, and our expanding opportunities for girls in STEM, and we are giving a small description of the project here, the Ibuka Girls in STEM program, which is targeting girls with disabilities in special secondary schools in Kenya, and it is aimed to enhance the interest, skills, and knowledge of girls with disabilities in STEM subjects and also in careers that have hands-on learning experiences. And from there, we are showing you our community, which is a very wide community. And from here, we are hoping that it even grows beyond what we have right now. We have our students, we have our teachers, we have the school principals, we have members from the Ministry of Education who are supporting us. We have members from the Action Foundation who are also supporting us. So we hope that after this, we can also include you as part of our community who are supporting this program. So this is our landing page. But from there, so the continuing development that is there on the platform is on now bringing all those resources that we have maybe like in hard copy. All those things with their training content and the manuals that we have, maybe on Scratch, on how to use a Makey kit, now transferring that content onto the online platform. And we are calling them Phoenix Parts because it's not exactly like courses. Si ile atakuwa na join, alafu anapewa marks, wewe umepita. No, it's not like that. It's just a place where you come, there are resources, you're going to learn through videos, which is what we are mainly looking to use to disseminate the content, so that it's not venye imekuwa from kitambo, wadi, a lot of notes, sijui nini. So we are trying to, we are going to use videos. So I can show maybe on the Phoenix Parts how it's going to be. But now in Ibuka Girls in STEM, our pads are 4 because we have this one. This is introduction to coding, but then we are using Scratch, which is a programming language. And then we also have this is mobile applications development, and we are using MIT App Inventor, which is now the software that we are using to teach the students mobile applications development. So we will have all the different parts here, including robotics, and the other one is on Makey kit. So what will be happening is that in each of the different parts that we have, when you open them, you will be getting different videos from introduction, from basics of like content on what you should have, like maybe how do you connect like an online class, what are the materials that you need, just trying to be a very holistic kind of platform in terms of if you log in here, you can clearly do a class on your own, whether as a teacher training your students or as a student who is learning on your own, or also maybe if you're like a peer mentor, if maybe you're a girl who is taking through other girls in the same content, you'll be able to log in and do it on yourself with little or no effort from anyone. So they'll be required to log in. You can see on the top right there, they are required to log in, so they'll have usernames and passwords. But yeah, this is our online platform, which is continually being developed, and we are happy to showcase it to you today as we officially launch the Ibuka Girls in STEM project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let us appreciate her once more. I'm requesting that we stand up. When we were doing our introductions, we had been given a very simple task of the kind of the ICT device that you would want to be. So you know how it looks like. So what I want you to do is map that image, map it's how it looks like in there using your finger. Yeah, you know how it looks like. Kama ilikuwa smartphone, kama ilikuwa computer, yeah, do that. I want to see everyone busy. All of them seem to have same shape. Aye? Yeah? Yes? Okay, thank you. We can sit down. We are almost concluding. I want to, we are in the second last step, because now we want to do the official national launch of the Ibuka Girls in STEM project. Then after that, we shall have the crossing remarks. So we are within time. I'm requesting Maria and Abdi to kindly come and officially launch these projects.
And as part of the launch, we have a small gift bag for you for joining us. So inside this bag is a very beautiful white paper on inclusive STEM learning for girls with disabilities. Maybe director could help me. So, yes.
White paper on expanding opportunities for girls with disabilities through mentorship in science, technology and engineering, and mathematics, STEM.
So, and then we have a beautiful task diary. Just appreciate your time. And a pen drive and pen. Just a flash drive, just to say asante sana for coming. And we hope that we will keep engaging. So, my colleagues will be passing them round, but we can have you come and receive the first one. Yeah. All right. So we all get a pack, and I request my colleagues to bring us the most important thing in a celebration. See the way our guests are very expectant. They're looking at you like, June, why? I got you. I know we have to celebrate in style. So yes, I can see someone bringing it so that we have a complete celebration.
Thank you. Something in a box.
I don't know what they have brought. I'm also equally surprised. So maybe we hope it's not a drone.
So not
we hope it's not a drone. Is it a drone?
It's not a drone.
I'm hoping it's a dam.
Is it something else?
Something else. Yes.
So you can, yes, director and Maria can help us with that.
Say yeah.
Oh, wow.
So big. We are now good to go.
Please,
That is the package that Stacy carried.
Slide.
So we invite, please help us with a knife so that we can do the official cake cutting for the official national launch, the Ibuka Girls in STEM project.
It's well
Strangely,
done,
one
huh?
of our guests is very, very well matched to the cake. I don't know if she should come.
Who is well matched? Yes, to be blend.
There's a blend. Eh?
Color coordination.
We are waiting for the knife.
And some forks.
And some forks. And the saucers, yes.
Saucers, yes. Tufanye nini?
I don't know. So we can the more the merrier. Nice colorful.
Now I will, Maria, you do for us?
Okay. But cutting a cake alone is lonely. So kuna msaidizi hapa.
How do you do it?
People should sing something.
Yeah. So we're officially cutting the cake to signify the official launch of the Ibuka Girls in STEM project by the Action Foundation in partnership with the Ministry of Education Directorate Special Needs and supported by google.org. So we could clap.
Why don't you clap?
And jubilate. And thank joining us. We will all get a taste, and that will be it.
Let us give the first. You have the cake.
Our colleagues will be coming round with them, but you can
Pick
also
the
use
first
this
one.
time to bond the twerk.
So, this is not a wedding. So you don't know what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
We can share
We
this
can share.
cake. We can share this one. You see harusi ya kulishana lishana.
We are not doing the annulation. This is another one. Let me.
I can. You are our chief guest.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. We can cut more. Are we through with our work now? Are we through or we are? Thank you very much. Can we make a second round of SNE clap? Thank you very much.
Okay. So they can, hello? So they can reduce the music. Okay, thank you. As we continue taking the cake, we want to multitask so that we conclude on time. And as you wait to get the cake, I want to give you a very simple assignment. Ask your neighbor, are you comfortable with the job that you do? Ask your neighbor. Find out from your neighbor whether they are okay with the job that they do. And the answer should be based on two things. One, it's what they like. Or two, they like it. Because if it is what they like, then they have followed their passion. If they like it, then they are doing it because they know they belong. They are doing it because they appreciate. So as we come to the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we are being reminded that this is not the end, it's a start. And there's so much that we need to do. And as we plan on how to engage our daughters, please remember that these daughters are teenagers. And we know the experiences we are having with our teenagers. They're in the process of discovering whom they are. And this has been the greatest bottleneck in issues pertaining careers. As a parent, as a mentor, as a partner, you need to be involved, but you should not control. You give them leeway to make the decisions on which paths they want to take. We need to advise them, but we don't need to decide on their behalf. If we leave them in the decision-making process, they're not going to own up. That is why we have so many students who are graduating with degrees, and then thereafter they tell their parents, this is not what I wanted to do. But you made the decision, and because I didn't want to contradict with you, I am now through with your degree. Can you please allow me to enroll my degree of choice? I am sure these issues, we have gone through them in our lives. You are expected to support, but don't dominate. Please remember these 3 points, they are very important. As you relate with your son, not necessarily the runners with the NSNE, with the special needs, as you relate with your sons and daughters, in your workplace, with your colleagues, at home. Please be involved, but don't control. Advise, but don't decide. Support, and don't dominate. The only way to separate the childhood fantasies with career dreams is by focusing on three things. One, personality. We are all created differently. And that's why I say not everyone is right for every job, and not every job is right for everyone. You need to look at their abilities. There are those who can do things practically. We are enjoying a cake. I don't know how much this cake has costed. But for those of us who've been attending functions, you know those people are doing well in areas, if you're in culinary arts or any field related to hospitality, and that's where you belong. Any job is well paying if you get a job that goes well with your personality, that lines with what you do. You'll never work for a single day. And also interests. We need to look into their interests. So those 3 points are very critical. The personality, the abilities, and the interests. And I want to invite Felix to give the closing remarks. So Felix, welcome. You'll introduce yourself, where you work, and give the closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Usually I have bass and I also have soprano. So I'm going to try to ensure that I use both. Why I'm going to do that is because, without being very careful here, have you ever gone for a wedding? What is the amazing part? What is the catharsis of the wedding? Is it the cake cutting? Everyone looks forward to that, right? After that, after the cake has been cut, no one wants to hear you. Oh, no one wants to listen to you. But I'm going to use my soprano and my bass because I'm a teacher of kindergarten all the way up. Now you are looking at me. Woo! Yeah, so I'm going to use all that so that I can draw your attention shortly. I want to start by saying my name is Felix Malombe. Yes, I'm a teacher of math and computer science. But when you go to the class, those hearts go away. All you remember is play and having fun with the students. So that we do not become that teacher of mathematics who made someone not like math. We have to be able to do that. I work at STEM Labs Africa. Currently, I'm the executive director. And what we normally do there is we try to contextualize STEM. We take STEM as it is, and then we try to contextualize it in the African context, or in our Kenyan context, in our classroom context. And that's what we call STEAM. So it's not changing STEM, it is contextualizing STEM. And so in our offering, we only focus on three things. We start with problem, process, and finally we do a product. The product can become a prototype or what we call MVP, that is minimum viable product. A prototype, something the students do. And so I'm saying that because Ibuka Girls in STEM is actually doing that. It's actually contextualizing STEM. We, the people who are here today, are involved in using our social avenues, using our artistic skills, whatever it is. Stacy is very big on development. And so she uses anything that works for the students. And that for me is delivering STEM in a context that is where she is, with the students that she's working with. I have worked with girls for the last 8 to 14 years. And this is what I realized. The biggest difference between boys and girls is this. Girls, if you want to draw the attention of the girls, you must connect whatever you are telling them with something they relate with. You must relate, if you're talking to students who are girls, you must find a way to connect what you are telling them with a social issue. That's why teachers of sciences, if they do not relate mole concept with buying and selling, with a child who is sick. The ladies are off, they are gone. Then the next thing that I learned is that we have to do all we can for the girls to draw their attention before 12 years. For the boys, they say it's 14 years. But for girls, if we can get them before 12 years, we will have won a big war, if there is one. So what do we do if they are past 12 years? We do a crash course for them. We have to find a crash course for them because we need them to, be able to achieve what we want them to achieve. I was telling Mr. Simon, Dr. Simon Dungo, that if we do not do something within those specific ages, then girls at the age of 12 years declare, this is what I want to become. So in our persuasion with Stacy and other teachers who are in the activity that we are doing here, we have to go that extra mile because we are trying to catch up. And that is why it's important to incorporate whatever we are doing here with Scratch for visual, those who have visual challenges, and for Lego, those who are hands-on. At STEAM Labs, we try to do something called the hearts-on heart, because of the ladies, the heart. You must connect, they must feel that it relates with me. Number two, the heads-on, so the minds-on, the head. It must also touch their cognitive abilities. And finally, the hands-on. Then our hands make sense. But now, according to Montessori, we're going to use any sense that works so that we can connect with these amazing, ambitious girls. And so we are going to be part of this project. Let me just get the names right. Maria and June and Stacy and the team, we're going to be supporting you. One of the ways we feel that we can come in is through the microbits. You code on Scratch, you see it visually on the screen, but then if you have something that you can touch to make it hands-on also, you see the code coming with a smiley, then every child is smiling, then we can actually do something. And I am very sure, I'm speaking for STEAM Labs, I'm very sure you are coming with something else. You're going to plug in, and we are going to make not 35 counties. We're going to make them 350, another 0, 3. Can you add another 0? There was 35, then we add, someone else is going to make it 350, another one is going to add another 0. Mr. Alex, 3,500. Another one is going to say 35,000. And there are so many of them that I need of our attention. So I can't wait to be part of this. I don't know when you are starting. I'm so excited. I want to be part of this from the first day. 4 things that we're going to do. We have been told 5, but for me, I know, for curriculum development, adapting content. At STEAM Labs, we do something to do with coding and AI, engineering and robotics, business entrepreneurship, game design and development. We're going to be asking Ibuka girls, can we do some Minecraft with the kids, please? Because this is esports. And I know someone here is from the metaverse. You are here, you're going to be doing something to do with virtual reality. I don't know how we are going to do it, but I'm very sure that our partner here is going to come in with that. And this is the opportunity that we want to give our girls at this stage. Because, again, I said, it's an acceleration now we are going to be doing. It's a crash course. So you cannot keep waiting or dilly-dallying. You cannot be doing that pick-pong. What is it called? That thing in the court, the Supreme Court. Pick what? That? Yeah, that one. We cannot be doing that. We cannot dilly-dally anymore. We join hands together. If you are joining hands with me, just lift your hand. If you are joining hands with me to do the Ibuka STEM, that is all I need. That's all we need. That's what you need. Coming together for a greater impact. What a moment. What a day. And what such an event to be part of. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think we can give him a better appreciation. Yeah, we are coming to the end. We are 13 minutes late. Sorry for the delay. We need to keep time. Mine will be a very humble task to thank all of you. The Action Foundation, we don't take it for granted. All the partners present. By the time I got this list, we were at number 16. Number 17, we have Christian Bride Mission, and we have another one, Danes. And any other person, any other group that has joined us after this, kindly please, let's have your particulars so that we can have it in record. the Directorate of Special Need within the Ministry of Education, the Deputy Director, kindly accept our acknowledgement that without the support, the pivotal role being played by the Directorate, there isn't much we can do. We have the girls in schools, we need to access them, you have the master key. All these institutions, all these organizations are willing to collaborate to ensure that the girls, especially those who have special needs, are not disadvantaged in any way. Yeah. The Google, we acknowledge the partnership, and we have a liaison officer within the Ministry of Education, Madam Sheila Ruta, who is not with us. She's out on other commitments. She requested on a short notice I step in on her behalf, and that is exactly what I've done. Everyone present, feel appreciated. The 2-3 hours you've sat down here, it's just a beginning. We've planted a seed. May we go and water that seed so that eventually someone will sit down and enjoy shade under a tree. I always say, legacies are not built on top stones, but they are built on people's hearts. When you impact a learner with SNE, they will live to remember you. So please, this is just the beginning. Let's go out there. Let's partner and make the lives of learners with a special need better. So with those remarks, we are coming to the conclusion of the program. I want to seek directions from June, if she's within the hall, so that we can get to know what we need to do thereafter. Kindly alert her. We are coming to the conclusion. Yeah. I train on careers and life skills. I'll give you my number. If you want to consult, it's for free. I don't charge anything. I have realized that if I keep this information to myself, it doesn't help me anymore. Recently, I'm just saying this one as I buy time for Nani to come. I wrote an article that the way I'm informed, if it is the time I'm making a career decision, I'm not sure who I would be, but I thank God I became a teacher. I've met with the students who have challenges. I've met with the parents who don't understand, and it has helped me understand education and learning more. So my number is 0721 if you are interested, 0721 28 53 82. 0721 28 53 82. Ukiingia kwa mtandao, you'll find a page by the name Career Fundamentals and Support Services. We want to empower the youth and everyone. And it is never too late to make the right career decision, including today. Career process starts with self-assessment. You need to assess yourself and learn whether what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. And if not, as you continue with what you're doing, also see how you can do what you like, and you'll be free. There's a difference between interest and passion. Interest is what you do when you are free. Passion, you create time so that you can do it. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I hope we had a good time. So I'll request that the final thing we do, we will have closing prayers, which I will invite Mr. Deputy Director Sir to give us. And then we can take a group photo near the, what do we call them? Yes, near the couches, so that we can at least remember our friends who joined us for this very momentous event. We thank all of you. We thank our partners, MOE, DSNE. We thank Madam Sheila Luta for her relentless and hard work behind the scenes. So much as she's not here, she's, believe you me, an important cog without which we would not be where we are today, and we take special recognition of that. We hope that we'll continue working together, we'll continue engaging. Before we leave, let's network a bit, let's share a laugh, and thank you all for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your day, and your week, and your weekend. Sir, welcome for the closing prayer.
Okay, let's have a word of prayer. In the name of God, the most gracious and the most merciful, Praise be to you, O God, King of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and to you alone we pray for help. O God, guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you have favored. O Allah, make our initiatives and our work easy for us. Empower our special needs girls through the initiatives of Ibuka and all other interventions. We pray to you for mercies. We pray to you for help. We pray to you for guidance. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. We also take time to appreciate our online audience. We had an audience of around 15 to 20, mostly our teachers in our partner schools. Asanteni sana for joining, and we wish you as well a good rest of your day. So we can go for the group photos, and that will be the end of the Ibuka Girls in STEM national launch by the Action Foundation in partnership with the Ministry of Education, Directorate of Special Needs Education. Asanteni sana kwa kuja.